we'll start with the covalent bond. ठीक है? What we'll do, we'll start with the covalent bond so that you have a fresh idea. See, ionic bond. Last time, what did we study about the ionic bond? We studied that in ionic bond, what happens? There is a complete transfer of the electrons. And what happens in the covalent bonding? Sharing of electrons. When there is a equal sharing of electrons in the bond, that bond is known as covalent. And when there is a complete transfer, that is when from Na and Cl, right? I gave you example in the first or the second class only. This is 2,8,1. This is 2,8,7. So what this will require one electron to fill its octet, and sodium needs to give one electron to be in its octet, to fill its octet, okay, to complete its octet. So what sodium will do? Sodium will become Na plus with 2,8 electrons. Chlorine will become Cl minus with 2,8,8 configuration. Now, since there is one positive charge and one negative charge, they will combine together to form NaCl. But we write as NaCl, right? This is the correct form, but we write commonly as NaCl. We are not showing the charges. Why? We are not showing the charges. Why? Because exactly, this is balance. Positive and negative, it is same, that means they are cancelling each out, and then we can commonly write this. Acha, this happens in which bonding? Which type of bonding? What happened here? An electron is to chlorine, and this type of bonding is known as ionic. What is this? This is ion, right? When atoms or the elements have a charge, they are known as ions, and when they form a bond, it is known as ionic bonds. When there is a complete transfer, it is known as ionic bond. NaCl has the ionic bond. NaCl does not have covalent bond, but it may consist the covalent character. समझ में आया? This may consist the covalent character, but
it does not have covalent.
Exactly. No bond. There is no bond in the universe which is completely ionic or completely covalent. Completely means 100% ionic or 100% covalent. Simply because at some point of time they share, because the electron keeps moving from here and there, and majorly what happens, this resides here. So it shows actually how we find out that NaCl has a ionic bond. Think practically how you are going to find that NaCl has an ionic bond. कैसे पता चलता है? अच्छा, वो तो समझ में आ जाता है, बिकॉज जब बॉन्डिंग होगी then too this will be same, right? When the covalent bond forms, the sharing of outermost electron will complete their outermost octet, right? But the problem is the thing is that how we get to know that these compounds or the elements consist of the ionic or the covalent character is because of their lattice structure. Because of their lattice structure. Actually, this compounds or this element or the molecules which consist of ionic bonds, which consist of ionic bonds, their structure specifically gives you like a, or looks like a crystal. Have you seen the crystals? Crystals have a definite structure. They have a proper structure. If you break it, go down into its lattice structure, the very smallest part. of the structure of the crystal. You will see there is a defined structure in a proper geometrical form, something like this. 3D structure, you'll get to know about the 3D structure, and then there is a cube, because they form like this, right? Just they form a cube like structure, something like that. All right. Acha. What happens in the covalent? They does not have a crystalline structure. This is the basic difference between the covalent and the ionic bonding. Okay. All right. Moving towards the covalent bond. Now, right. The bond formed between the two atoms by mutual sharing of the electrons between them as to complete their octet or duplet in case of the elements having one shell is called the covalent bond or the covalent linkage. Acha. The bond formed between the two atoms by mutual sharing. The bond formed between the two atoms by mutual sharing of the electrons. By mutual sharing of electrons between them so as to complete their octet. So as to complete their octets or duplets in case of elements having one shell. Duplets in case of having elements having only one shell is called covalent bond. कहाँ तक लिखा? कहाँ? एक second. The bond formed between the two atoms by mutual sharing of electrons between them so as to complete their octets or duplets.
Or triplets.
No triplet. There is no triplet.
Okay, or
Duplets. See, you have seen the configuration, right? 2, 8, 8, 18. There is no triplet. Either duplet or octet. Alright. It's called covalent bond or covalent linkage. It's called covalent bond or covalent linkage. And the number of electrons contributed by the atom is known as covalency. And the number of electrons contributed by each atom. Number of electrons contributed by each atom is known as covalency. ठीक? Now tell me, what do you understand by the covalency? Covalency का मतलब क्या? क्योंकि ये जानना बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. You need to understand this first. I guess I have told in the earlier classes. You might or you must remember.
when both the elements share their electrons equally, then it is called covalent.
But what is covalency? Read your last line. The number of electrons. Read your last line. The number of electrons.
Contributed by each other is called covalence.
What do you understand by this?
The number of electrons contributed by both the elements is known as
Covalency. What do you understand by this? For example, if in the case of carbon dioxide, what is the covalency of the carbon, or what is the covalency of the oxygen? How? This is carbon. Have you seen the structure of the carbon dioxide? Something like this. Something like this. Okay, something like this. Acha. Now tell me how many electrons are shared. Can you draw the Lewis dot structure of carbon dioxide? Draw Lewis dot structure of carbon dioxide. I have taught you. You don't have to look on the internet for the Lewis dot structure. You try to learn the at least 20-30 elements, atomic number and this atomic mass number and all. Try to learn the names of this first 20-30 elements. It's very important. See, how many atoms in the outermost shell of the carbon? 4. Good. Acha. Oxygen. How many atoms in the outermost shell of the oxygen? Good. This and this. All right. How many electrons? Atom बोल रहा था मैं. How many electrons? How many electrons needed to for carbon to complete its octet? How? How many electrons does carbon have right now? 4. How much more needed? When 2 will be needed, it will be 6. So 6 is octet. How many electrons does an octet have? 8. Octa means octa means 8. Do you know this? Duplet, triplet, quadruplet, penta, hexa, hepta, octa, nona. What is this? This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is the naming, and this naming we use in chemistry for the bonds, like duplets, triplet, quadruple, penta, hexa, hepta, octa, nona. So basically what we are using, we are just referring to octa. That means 8. Octet means 8. That is the name of the octa is octet. Octet means 8. The outermost shell we call it as an octet. An outermost shell we call it as an octet. Why? Because it has to be according to the Lewis dot structure. What they said, it should have 8 electrons, at least 8 electrons in the outermost shell. That's why we call this at octets. So how much does carbon requires now? अब बताओ. 4 ही है ना, ये नहीं है. 4 more. So 2 electrons from this oxygen. ठीक? 2 electrons from this oxygen. 2 from where? Here. कितना हो गया? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. दिख रहा है? अच्छा, tell me about the oxygen. How many electrons does it have all along with the sharing? 8. This is also having 8. This is also having 8.